Writing formulas in your spreadsheet. I promise this will be short and simple because this is not a tutorial about writing complex formulas. But I do want you to just understand the most basic of the formula writing process. First of all, every formula begins the same way, and that's by typing an equal sign. That's what tells the sheet that you're going to enter some kind of formula. Now, if I just put in an equal sign and a reference as my formula, so maybe my reference is going to be cell A2 over here, and I can either type in A2, or I can just click that cell and it will automatically enter. If that's all that I want for my formula, I can hit enter. And now this cell is a direct reference to that cell. If I change Myra's name to Molly's name, it changes over here. Any update I make in one place updates in the other. And I can copy that down so that now I'm linking all of these names to all of these names. And you're wondering, well, why would you do that side by side? I might not side by side, but I could go to a different tab on the spreadsheet or even to a different sheet altogether and make a reference to a cell so that what's in one cell is in another cell. So there are times when you may want to just copy information. If you've got a list of students, it's one master list. Somebody goes in and changes that list and updates it so that we have a current roster. That roster may show up in a number of documents, and it can show up automatically. Everybody gets the newest version as long as the first one is changed and the references are correct. So that's the basics of making a cell reference. Now, what if you want to make a formula? Well, let's start with the grades here. Let's say we want to come down to the bottom and get an average of our grades. Now, Sheets is pretty smart. Because I'm clicking right below a column of numbers, as soon as I hit the equal sign, it's going to ask me, are you wanting to do an average of these or a sum of these? Because those are the two most common things you would do with a column of numbers. And if I do just want an average, all I have to do is click on it. And what it's going to do is enter all the information for me. It's going to put in the word average, and then in the parentheses, it's going to put in all the numbers in that column from cell D2 all the way down to cell D31, because that's where it finds numbers. If I click it and hit enter, that's my average grade. Now remember, we can reduce the number of decimal places because that's taking it to the extreme. I can bring it all the way down to 79.2. I can even eliminate the decimals. My average grade is a 79. So it's easy to do that kind of average. The sum would be the same way. If I had numbers where I wanted the sum to be, I hit equals, I hit the sum, and you can see again, it's just equals and then sum, and then in parentheses, the cells that you want to reference. And it adds those numbers up for me. So everyone starts the same, equals, and then what's happening next. It will give you lots of help with that. This little summation sign over here, these are all the functions available. The most common ones are sum, average, count, maximum, and minimum. But there are hundreds of options that you can choose from. Most of these we would never use, but we will use sum, average, count. Maybe, those are the kinds of things that get used the most. I will also prompt you at this point, when you've got a spreadsheet with some data, you can do all the hard work yourself, or you can let Sheets do work for you. Just like it put in the formulas for average and sum, I didn't have to do that. It just assumed that's probably what you want, so let me help you. You can also come down here to this little icon. If you hover over it, it says Explore. If you open it, it will give you options for your data. And so it's going to say, about this data. Well, we could make some counts for you. We could do some pretty formatting for you. Let's say we want to format it nicely. I could click one, it highlights the column, it puts alternating colors so it's easy for me to read across the lines. It does not undo the conditional formatting that I've established, but It puts in the alternating colors just as a way to help make it easy to read. It will even put in a pivot table for me. So I can click there and say, oh, okay, that's the average for each individual teacher. Who's got the best class right now? Mr. Smith, he's rocking it pretty well. But Mr. Jones's class is struggling, and that's a class where maybe we need some more help. I could insert that pivot table, and I'd say, oh, let's put it in a new sheet all by itself. And so now it's over here, and it's just going to stay there. And every time I change grades over here, my pivot table will update, so that I always know what's the average score within each classroom. So those are the kinds of things that sheets will help you do. They will help you get some of the data analysis done without you having to do a lot of technical formula writing. Now, later in the year, there will be an opportunity for you to take a class that does have some more information about formulas, but that's really not the focus at the moment. The focus now is just getting information in, and actually we're talking about more text than we are numbers, because this is the best way to sort your text. So we'll deal with most of the complex formulas later. But I wanted you to understand the basic cell referencing and the basic formulas of getting an average, totaling some numbers, that kind of thing. All right, there we go. I promised you that would be quick and easy. Hopefully you felt like it was.